Hello and welcome to another video review brought to you by yours truly, Thorazine. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Mortal Kombat figure by the way of Baraka from the Mortal Kombat 9 line by Jazewares. As you can see, this is a 3 3/4 inch figure, or rather a 4-inch figure as they're marketed, but it does scale well with other 3 3/4 inch figures such as Marvel Universe and G.I. Joe. As you can see side by side, they are all pretty similar in scale and should work pretty well together. Having a hard time getting this guy to stand. There we go, let's move him out of the way. And this is something I've been waiting to do since I got the Deadpool figure from the X-Men Origins movie. Just to see these two figures side by side in scale, so I'm going to kind of dwell on that for a second. Alright, with the nerdgasm out of the way, let's take a look at the actual figure. Not too shabby on the molded detail here. The blades you would typically expect. I do like the kind of other protrusions here in the arm. I'm not too familiar with the Mortal Kombat characters much past the Mortal Kombat trilogy game, so the character design is a little bit different than I remember Baraka, but still familiar enough that it is easily recognizable as the character that I know. One of the things that caught my eye right off the bat was the head mold here, and it has caught in quite a bit of flack on the internet too. I think I've heard a lot of people compare it to Chunk from the Goonies, and to be honest with you, I can see the resemblance. I gotta kind of laugh at it though. Baraka did in the game, as far as I remember, have kind of that elongated lower jaw there with the rather long teeth, so this is not a bad attempt at emulating that. It would have been nice if they would have included an extra head with a normal kind of facial expression on it though. Other than the face sculpt, I'm generally pretty happy with it. This is a huge improvement over the quality on the Mortal Kombat Classic figures. It does have its issues though. It is still kind of cast in that slightly rubbery plastic. Not quite as bad as the Classic figures were, but still enough to give it that kind of cheap feel. The matte finish on the paint also not my first choice for paint application on a figure. As you can see, it is kind of chipping away here in the shoulder already, but nothing that I can't deal with personally. However, a lot of collectors may want to take note of that. With that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the articulation on this guy. The feet are attached with a hinge here in the ankle that allows you to move the feet up and down, as well as a swivel point which allows for 360-degree rotation there at the ankle. The knees are single hinged, which allow for about 90 degrees of motion there in the leg, as well as 360-degree rotation at the knee, which is something I don't see in a lot of other 3 3/4 inch figures. It kind of took me by surprise, but it is kind of neat. Not an articulation point that I'm used to seeing on action figures. The hip is ball jointed, which allows for about 90 degrees of lateral motion there in the leg, and about the same in the forward motion. You can also rotate the leg 360 degrees there at the hip. Nothing in the waist. The mid-torso does have that kind of typical rocking point that you would expect in a 3 3/4 inch figure, which allows you to move the upper body forward and backwards slightly, as well as turn it from side to side, allowing for 360 degrees of rotation there mid-torso should you need it. The hands are attached with the typical peg and hole assembly, which allows for 360-degree rotation at the wrist. Elbows are single hinged, 90 degrees there, as well as 360-degree rotation. Kind of ball hinge assembly there in the shoulder, which allows for about 90 degrees of lateral motion, as well as 360-degree rotation at the shoulder. The head is attached with a ball joint, I'm assuming, which doesn't allow for much up and down motion or kind of side to side motion given the kind of shape of the head sculpt. You can get a full 360-degree rotation out of the head though. Final thoughts, not a bad figure at the price point. I don't have a problem spending $10 on this guy. I can see where some people may not like the head sculpt or the quality issues that Jazewares has kind of become notorious for. I don't know if I'd spend crazy amounts of money on this guy, but for 10 bucks, I'm pretty happy to have a Baraka figure that will scale well with my G.I. Joes and Marvel figures for lots of picture-taking fun and review comparisons. This shot for me was worth the $10 all by itself. That being said, thank you for watching. Tune in again when we'll be talking about some more toys. This has been another video review brought to you by yours truly, Thorazine.